All right. So our next presenter is from New Jersey. Who else is from New Jersey here? All right, all right. She's from New Jersey. She was a volunteer firefighter and a ski racer while she was in high school in New Jersey. Her first time was actually last year. So this is her second time on our stage. And we almost told her no, but we changed our mind because she was so amazing. She actually has done a moth presentation in between the two. So please give it up for Wilmette, citizen, Kirsten Guill.
Hi, everybody. Hello, good evening, hello. Okay, so the last time I was up here last year, I told a funny story, which I'm way more comfortable with telling funny stories. This story is a little more serious, so I hope you bear with me. This story is about the last time that I had a baby, which really transformed my life, and I'm gonna say something that was not in my script because of everything that Elizabeth just said, and I'm gonna try not to cry. Whoa. It was also the last time that I really worked to kick an addiction, which was a work addiction. So I had an alcohol addiction, I had an eating disorder, I had some psychiatric issues in the past, and those were all a very, very long time ago. I'm not brave enough to just change my whole story and talk about the last time that all that happened, but I will tell you, sorry, and maybe you're welcome, but I will tell you that this was the last time that I did kick in a work addiction. So about when I had my last baby. So to set the scene, I found out I was pregnant in March of 2020, so right when COVID hit. Yeah, I had 2 other kids at the time. They were 5 and 3. And I was a real workaholic. I had my identity like fully wrapped up with my my job, and I was a general manager of a big hotel downtown. I spent most of my time with my work team and very little time at home with my home team. When I got pregnant during COVID, that really all flipped because I started working from home. We moved to Wilmette, which was a great move. And I started to see what the cost of that decision to work all the time was having really on my personal life and on my family. You know, I really didn't have time to make a lot of friends. I didn't have time to work out. My relationship with my husband was pretty bad. We were pretty disconnected. He had a big operational leadership job too. And the result of that was that we were outsourcing all of our childcare to a full-time nanny. And you guys, this is embarrassing to admit on stage, but it was so bad that my 2 kids called my nanny mom. Like normally, like all the time. Like that was the situation in my house. So I started seeing this when I was pregnant at home with my 3rd one during COVID, and I was like, what the fuck is going on, right? I was like, seriously, I had this horrible feeling in my gut that something was really very wrong, and I had to make a change, but I didn't know how, and I wasn't sure what to do because again, my identity was super wrapped up in my job. So I went to have the baby. It was December of 2020, and I got to the hospital, and the nurse said, oh, I see that you have had 2 babies here before. Have you ever had one of those amazing rooms with the view of the lake that's like super nice? And I was like, no, do I have one today? She goes, no. And I was like, oh, okay, well, you know, I'm not here for the upgraded room. I'm just here for a healthy baby. She then proceeded to like excavate my nose with this COVID test, okay, that I swear was like more painful than the actual childbirth. I wound up with a bloody nose, okay? It was like god awful. I was like, well, again, not here for the customer service. I'm just here for a healthy baby, right? So I was really happy that that's what I got. I gave birth to Axel, and the doctor handed the baby to me, and I was like, wow, you know, thank you. But she had this super weird look on her face as she hands me the baby. And I said, Dr. Marzullo, what's wrong? And she said, oh, Kirsten, you are super, super, super lucky. This baby came out and had an enormous knot in his umbilical cord. And, I know you didn't want me to induce you. She told me, she's like, you're 40, whatever, advanced maternal age, like geriatric pregnancy, whatever they call it. She's like, you should get induced on your due date. And thank God I had let her do that because, this baby had a knot and I could have lost him. So I felt extremely grateful. We brought the baby home, and there was this one night, like 3 weeks after, when you're super sleep deprived and you're feeding the baby in the middle of the night. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I remember I was like staring at the wallpaper. I don't know why I remember staring at the wallpaper, and I had this super vivid, like really odd, again, really sleep deprived, right? But this very, very odd feeling where I just had a deep sense of peace and joy. And if you knew me at the time, you would be like, okay, excitement, happiness, fun. Like, these are emotions that I access normally, but peace and joy were really not in my wheelhouse at all, right? And so I remember thinking to myself, like, okay, how could I bottle this? Like, what could I do to recreate this feeling more, right? And I had 3 words come to my mind like a lightning strike, really weirdly. It said, my mind said to me, it said presence, gratitude, and contribution. And I thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to leave my job, and I am going to experiment with a new life where I am present with my kids, grateful for what I have right in front of me, and work to make a contribution in a different way for now. And I'm going to try that out and see what it's like. And I was scared shitless. I called my boss on the phone to tell him about it, and he could tell I was really, really struggling and conflicted. And he said, Kirsten, you have worked so hard. You've done so much. You are giving up a tremendous amount. You look at my hand, like the phone looks like this anymore. It really doesn't, he said, you're giving up a tremendous amount, but you're really getting a lot too. And I want you to think about that. You're really getting a lot too with this decision. And I think it's really, really good for you. So he gave me a lot of freedom with that. It's been really awesome. It has been a tremendous journey the last 3 years. It's been a lot of fun. I often think that running a team of 500 people at a hotel is actually way easier than running a team of 3 at home. Like, first of all, you actually know how you're doing, right? You have P&L meetings, you have guest feedback, you have performance reviews, you have employee surveys, right? You have a bunch of data to say, am I doing a good job or a bad job? As a parent, you have no idea how you're doing, right? You're flying blind all the time. I'm like, I have no idea. I'm like, I don't know what they're going to be like when they're older. Who knows? I really have no idea. And then the other thing is, if people misbehave at a hotel, you can either evict them or fire them, which is really not a tool that's in a parental toolkit, unfortunately, right? It's like sort of frowned upon, not something we can do. I've started reintroducing work into my life again. I've been helping teams and leaders as an executive coach, which I've really enjoyed. And so I'm super grateful to my baby with the knot in his umbilical cord, who really helped me undo the knots that I felt all through my stomach from really living a life that was misaligned with my priorities. So I try to remember all that gratitude when he's peeing in the dining room like he did last week and spitting his milk all over the floor and all over the house and all the things like a crazed teenager will do. But he really is. He's a very, what they would call an active child. So I really do understand now why he was the one of all my 3 kids that got the knot in his cord. Like, he's probably doing flips around in my stomach, right? But anyway, because of all that, and he is so active, he was, in fact, my last time. That is my story. So thank you very much for listening, and have a great evening.